I must acknowledge that you have received a ton of online harassment and bullying and things like this. And honestly, I'm impressed that you like continue
Oh,
to go on just because like it is so overwhelming. And I have to also like apologize because like I contributed to that for some time and to the toxicity of like picking apart like what you say, or how maybe you may be living your life. And that's just like super unfair. It's something like have learned a big lesson about this, but I hate that it was like at your expense because like you don't deserve that. And you've always been super kind to everyone who's like
oh.
sent even like the hate you receive on Twitch. You're like, I'm sorry you feel that way. And everything that I've ever made on Eugenia, I apologized privately, and I just wanted to publicly say it because I think that it's important for creators sometimes to show growth and to realize like sometimes what you're doing isn't like the right thing at that time, you know?
I just try my best to like stay as calm as I can with it all
Mm-hmm.
and just like to be kind about it because I never do want to, make another person feel bad or like be being mean back to
Yeah.
somebody or like, attacking them back because I definitely know it can be hurtful, like having those things said to you. There was like some certain YouTubers like for a while it
You
was
could say I
like,
was one of them, but like who else is like you can just say them. It's not
oh,
like
if it's okay,
yeah,
like
I
thank
don't
you.
think
Like
this is your story. So like I was part of that. I can even think of like there's other channels like Love Eugenia Cooney and like things like that, but like there are also creators like
yeah.
who else kind of
I would say like the first one that started kind of making things like toxic, like or like more so toxic, and
yeah.
kind of like when the narrative kind of like would change more to like Eugenia is a bad person, like was honestly like I don't know if you remember
Oh
Onision,
yeah,
like
I do know of him. Like it was kind of before my time because I've only been like on YouTube for like really like 2.5 years. But I definitely
oh
know of him. And like when I was doing research on you, his name came up. But like he's someone like I've heard horrible things about. So I was like, I don't really even like. But he made videos about because I know like it doesn't. Is he like a predator or something? I don't even know.
yeah, there's like a lot of stuff out there
He's like
about that. And like honestly, I don't even know everything about that. So
yeah.
like I guess I can't like fully judge the situation where I'm not like that informed
Mm-hmm.
about it. But
Yeah.
it's weird. Like there does seem to be some really, really bad stuff with that guy. At first he kind of made a video like defending me, which
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh thanks, that's
Yeah.
nice. And then like kind of quickly, like it turned into like kind of just like attack on me. And it started as like one video, and then it
Mm-hmm.
kind of turned into like more and more videos being made about me. He kind of like told everybody to go unsubscribe, and to start like disliking all my
Oh
videos.
my God. He cultivated a hate community against you. And what would they
Very
like?
much so, yeah. And like some of them would just kind of be like making fun of me. Like he did one that was like Eugenia Cooney's cooking show.
Hi, I'm Eugenia Cooney and I'm doing a cooking show. But first, I'm gonna eat something on camera to prove to you guys that I do eat. Here are some cucumbers. Are you ready for me to prove you guys wrong, Freely the Banana Girl and Onision? I love cucumbers. See, I love food. So good for my tummy.
Oh,
And like
would he
he'd
like
be like,
impersonate you or something?
yeah, he like impersonated me pretty much, and then like by the end of it, like sorry if it's like
You're
all
fine.
kind of graphic or
No, you can go
anything like
ahead.
that.
Yeah, no, this is
If
all
you're
good.
sure, because
Mm-hmm.
in the end he'd be like throwing up, like faking it, like he'd be like throwing up in
Oh.
like the video and like just like doing
Uh,
like really, really like graphic thing. Like I don't know, like it was just like a little bit like weird where he started out was like, oh, I'm trying to like help Eugenia or like
yeah.
whatever. And then he's like making videos saying that. And he would turn into, oh, she's a bad example, she's this, she's that. When, I'm really like, I'm never trying to promote anything bad to anyone. Like I'm really not.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh, I feel like that's when kind of like the narrative with me like really changed with a lot of people. And
Mm-hmm.
people kind of got this idea that like I'm like, oh, like not only are we gonna like hate on her, but we're gonna make it into like she's a bad person.
Yeah.
I guess you get kind of used to it in a way
Mm-hmm.
because you just kind of get so used to people like, hating and thinking all these horrible things about you and
Mm-hmm.
leaving the same comments like, over and over. And I guess you've just kind of heard it so many times.
Yeah. But there's some things, I guess, sometimes where it's like, it's just too much. Like, for instance, there was a time, I guess, maybe it was last year, where there was like a petition to remove you off of YouTube. Like, when you saw something like that, how did you feel seeing something so, I guess, like, I don't know, it's not a hate comment. You know, it's not like just a random
Yeah.
comment from a random account. Now it's just like an organized effort to remove you. How did you feel like when you saw that?
And see, that kind of stuff, like that's the kind of stuff that like will especially kind of bother me.
Yeah.
Because I kind of feel like when you start doing that to people, it kind of goes past like just having an opinion or
Hmm.
hating or whatever, because like you're actually trying to like remove them off their platform. And then it makes me feel like really, really bad because like, I'm like really just like not trying to do anything wrong. Like I feel like there is like some actual bad things like going
Yeah.
on like on the internet and in the world, and then like kind of scary.
It is scary because it's like, how far will these people go? And you've been on social media for a long
Exactly.
time. You've pretty much built your life online. So like, have you been, what's it called when like the police come to your house and they are swatted? Have you been like
Oh
swatted or things
yeah.
like that before? Oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh, is
It's
that
like it's
scary? Like,
awful.
why? Like, how's that
Yeah,
even
like
happen?
oh my gosh, there was like this one guy. It was actually years ago. It was like back
Uh-huh.
in like you now days. And he went by the name like probably Onion 2, I think was his username.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, okay, it was like crazy. Like he started messaging me. I didn't know, like at the time it was so new to me, like with
Hmm.
swatting. I didn't know what any of this was.
Yeah.
So I was so confused. Like he knew my address somehow. And like he knew like all this info about me. And
Hmm.
he told me that he was gonna like basically like I guess send like these cops to my house and like whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of this meant at the time. I was like, what? I didn't think there was any way it was gonna be like serious.
Hmm.
And it was so weird. It was crazy because we were actually not home at the time. We were up in Massachusetts, so we
Yeah.
were not even home. And then we get like a call from the police that there was like, well, actually neighbors I think first started calling us and telling us there's like a zillion cars outside your house.
Really?
And we were like, what? And then I guess what this like probably Onion account did, like he sent an onion pizza to the house first. And then like right after he sent the SWAT team. It's
Weird.
so weird, right? I guess that's why he's probably onion too, because
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like it's so bizarre. And then we heard, I guess, that like what he apparently said. I think he said he was my dad and that he was going to start shooting soon with like an AK something.
Oh my
And
God.
we like actually misinterpreted like when like they called us and we thought like my dad was like in the house like being held hostage,
Oh
and like
no.
my family was like freaking out, like they were like going insane. And then we found out like no, it was it was basically this guy lied and said it made up this crazy
Could he
story.
get in
And
trouble for that? Like the
I
onion
think
guy?
eventually, but it took a long time. And
Really?
he had like a broken window from it because like the thing
Oh.
that's so scary is like if you're home, the police will actually have to like come in your house with like a bunch of guns.
Yeah.
Like it looked like when we saw the photos, it looked crazy. And since then I've had people try like the same stuff
I
and
feel
it's
like you
like,
had the police there like last year or something at some
yeah,
point,
like I'm
right?
always having police calling me. It's
That is
crazy.
so ridiculous. So at this point, I
Yeah.
mean, would you think that your county or whatever kind of like understands
Oh,
like
they definitely do at this point. Like at
yeah.
this point, like a lot of time they'll just kind of call me and be like, "Hey, we got another call."
Yeah.
And like, just the other day, actually, I think it was yesterday, we just got another call from like another
Really?
social worker. It's
That is
like,
insane.
yeah, they're like always calling these people, and like it's like, oh, like sometimes it's like crazy. They even called once on like our dog.
Yeah, I was gonna
To
say
say,
Buzz. Like you've got your dog
yeah,
Buzz, and he's so cute. And like,
thank
I remember at
you.
some
He's
point
such a
someone was
good
like,
dog.
"Yeah, he's so sweet." And like someone was like saying something about his eye or something at one point. Like it looked dry, which whatever. Like it's a dog, but like
Exactly.
they called on like Buzz, right?
Yeah, they literally called like the what do you call them? You know,
Like the
like
animal
those,
services or something.
yeah, like
Yeah.
animal services. And then we had to have like the ladies come to our house, which it's really scary when you see that because it's like, like we take great care of Buzz. So like nothing
Yeah.
was gonna happen. When they saw him too, they were like, yo, yeah, he seems like such a good, like well taken care of dog. Like we don't know why they called us. But they said if you well, I mean, luckily like those girls are really nice and I think they
Hmm.
understood there was no problem. But it's like when you do that, you could like have someone's animal like taken away from them.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just so crazy that people would call like calling us for that when that's like so far from the truth.
Yeah.
And like I feel like you should really only be calling those resources like if you know that an animal is actually being abused and
Yeah.
don't just call it on people that like love their pets and it's like such a serious thing to do. It's like it's
Yeah.
so weird.
And do these agencies are like, so in police or animal services, like when they do come through, do they kind of like, when you say like, oh, I do social media, are they kind of like, oh, it makes sense? Or it kind of like helps, I guess, alleviate what they're investigating once they figure out you are an easy target, I guess.
Yeah, like at this point, I think they're really like understanding with that. The first time, which most of the cops are like really, really nice, luckily that I've had to like, deal with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think like at first, like the first time it happened with that onion guy, I think there were some of them that like just did not understand, like because they weren't used to, I guess, like dealing with these kind of situations. So they were just kind of like, why do you do this? Like this site seems weird. Why is there like a girl's room? You
Yeah.
shouldn't be on here. And I'm like,
Oh.
oh, but God, it's kind of like now this is like my job. And they're like, we could get a different job.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, you're like what one of the guys, most of them are really good about it, but one of the
Yeah.
guys is like, oh, like you have your parents anyway. But I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Just like do
Yeah.
nothing? It's like, I don't know. But luckily, most of the guys there like seem like once they understood it was like an internet situation, they were really, really understanding. And at this point, like one day, even like last year, like the cops actually wanted me to just kind of go like visit the office and kind of meet the cops and meet
Really?
everybody around there just so
Yeah.
they kind of like, yeah, okay, now we know what's going on with her. Because
Uh,
people call them like I think like that time it was after they called and said that I was like in cardiac arrest or something crazy.